the Empire's easy target. The Imperial fleet hung above Earth like a steel crown, vast and terrible, its warships blotting out the stars. On the command deck of the dreadnought Dominus Rex, Admiral Vuroc of the Galactic Empire studied the glowing blue sphere on the holodeck. A primitive world, he muttered, his voice tinged with contempt. No space fleets, no orbital defenses, no planetary shields. This will be easy. His staff officers nodded, their polished armor gleaming under the artificial lights. Reports from the reconnaissance teams were unanimous. Earth possessed nothing that could threaten the Empire's power. Its dominant species, humans, had developed crude technology, ballistic weapons, fossil fuel machines, and rudimentary satellites. Compared to the psionic overlords of Erythra or the war-clawed Rosuri, humans were laughably fragile. They used sharpened metal projectiles to wound each other. One officer scoffed, scrolling through images of rifles, tanks, and jet fighters. Children's toys, Admiral. They cannot pierce our armor. Another added, their bodies are soft, their claws useless, their teeth dull. No natural weapons, no venom, no exoskeleton. Evolution has left them weak. Vuroc curled his mandibles in satisfaction. He had led campaigns across dozens of worlds. Entire civilizations had broken beneath his heel, their resistance crushed within weeks. Earth will be no different. Begin the subjugation, he ordered. Deploy occupation forces to major population centers. Break their governments, and the rest will kneel. This will be a simple conquest. The first landings began in Africa, where the Empire's troop transports descended with thunderous roars. Villagers and townsfolk gawked in terror as towering alien soldiers, over 2 meters tall, armored from head to toe, marched out in disciplined ranks. Their plasma rifles glowed with a deadly hum. The soldiers expected panic. They expected surrender. What they did not expect was resistance. Outside a small settlement near the savannah, the first shots were fired. Not by the Empire, but by humans. Farmers with old rifles fired from rooftops. Children hurled stones and burning bottles of fuel. Entire families worked together to set traps, pits covered in leaves, spikes fashioned from sharpened wood. The plasma weapons tore through their defenses, scattering bodies and igniting homes. But to the alien surprise, the humans did not flee. Even as their neighbors fell, they fought on, biting, clawing, and striking back with whatever they had. A squad commander snarled into his comms. These primitives resist. They should be groveling at our feet. Yet everywhere they advanced, resistance awaited. In the dense forests, men and women darted through the undergrowth, ambushing patrols and vanishing into the shadows. On the savannah, hunters with spears moved like ghosts, striking at night and melting into the tall grass. The aliens called it insignificant interference, but their soldiers whispered of something else, something unsettling. One patrol, tasked with clearing a path through the jungle, encountered an unexpected adversary. It was small, squat, and covered in coarse fur. A black and white animal, no taller than their knees. At first, the soldiers ignored it. Surely it posed no threat. But when one tried to nudge it aside with his boot, the creature turned with a snarl and sank its teeth into the soldier's armored leg joint. He roared, firing his plasma rifle at the ground. The blast scorched the earth, but the animal did not retreat. It clawed, bit, and screeched, refusing to release its grip. Another soldier stepped forward, blasting it point blank. The creature rolled, smoking, then staggered back to its feet, still alive, still snarling. "What is this thing?" one of them shouted. "Kill it. Now!" They fired in a panicked volley. In the chaos, 2 soldiers were struck by friendly fire, collapsing in screams. The creature darted among them, claws raking at armor seams, teeth snapping at exposed flesh. By the time they finally reduced it to a charred heap, 3 aliens were dead, and the survivors shaken. Their commander reported back reluctantly. "We were attacked by a local predator. Small in size, unnaturally aggressive. It did not fear us. It fought to the death." On board the Dominus Rex, Admiral Vuroc listened with irritation. "One small animal caused this panic? You disgrace yourselves. file it under hazardous fauna, and move on. But the footage of the battle circulated among the troops. A tiny beast clawing at armored giants, refusing to die even under repeated plasma blasts. The soldiers began whispering about it in hushed tones. Humans had a name for it, a name that spread quickly among the resistance fighters, painted on walls, scrawled on makeshift banners. Honey badger. In the villages, the story grew. The honey badger, they said, did not fear lions, cobras, or even armored aliens. It fought with a fury that would not yield, no matter the size of its opponent. To the humans, it became a symbol. To the Empire's soldiers, it became a warning. And though Admiral Vurok dismissed the incident as meaningless, he could not shake a faint unease. For if even Earth's smallest creatures fought without fear, what would it mean when the humans themselves truly rose to fight? The Galactic Empire believed Earth would be easy. They were about to learn otherwise. Encounter with the indomitable. The jungle was alive with noise, chittering insects, distant calls of birds, the rustle of unseen predators in the underbrush. But to the alien patrol trudging through the tangled greenery, the loudest sound was their own nervous breathing. They were armored, armed, and trained to crush resistance across dozens of worlds. Yet since arriving on Earth, nothing had gone as expected. The humans did not surrender. They did not kneel. Instead, they vanished into the trees, striking at supply convoys, ambushing scouts, setting traps with uncanny cunning. And then there were the animals. The footage of the honey badger incident had spread like wildfire through the Empire's ranks. Soldiers who once mocked Earth now whispered nervously about its fauna. The more they learned, the more unsettled they became. Spiders the size of a soldier's palm, venomous snakes that could kill in minutes, lions that stalked silently through the tall grass. But none of these frightened them as much as the small, relentless creature that had torn apart 3 of their comrades. The honey badger. Captain Zorak of the 17th Infantry Division had no patience for superstition. His orders were clear: secure the jungle perimeter and root out human resistance cells. He stalked through the foliage, plasma rifle at the ready, while his soldiers swept the area. Eyes forward, he growled. Do not let primitive vermin unsettle you. This planet will break like all the others. His words carried authority, but even he could not dismiss the unease that crept through his thoughts. Earth was proving different. Its people refused to collapse. Its terrain fought against them, and its smallest predator had already humiliated his army. They found signs of humans, discarded food wrappers, footprints, and crude snares meant to catch game. But the jungle was too quiet, too still. Then came the sound, a low growl, not like the roar of a lion, but something sharper, meaner, filled with defiance. The underbrush rustled. Weapons swung toward the sound. Out from the foliage padded a creature barely knee-high, black and white, fur gleaming in the dappled sunlight. Its eyes were dark, unblinking. Its teeth glistened as it bared them in a snarl. By the stars, muttered one soldier. It's one of them. The honey badger stood in their path, as if daring them to come closer. It is small, another said, lifting his weapon. I'll deal with it. But before he could fire, the honey badger charged. It moved with shocking speed. Claws raked across armored boots. Fangs clamped down on a leg joint. The soldier screamed, stumbling backward as the creature thrashed. Another soldier swung his rifle like a club, striking the animal. The blow would have killed most creatures. The honey badger only let go long enough to whirl and launch itself at him. Zorak barked orders, but chaos consumed the squad. Plasma bolts scorched the ground, filling the air with smoke. The honey badger darted between them, a blur of fur and fury, impossible to pin down. One soldier tried to grab it, only to have his hand shredded by claws. Another fell as it sank its teeth into his throat where the armor was weakest. It doesn't die, someone screamed. They fired volley after volley, the air crackling with heat. The honey badger staggered under the blast, smoking, bleeding, but it refused to stop. Even as half its fur burned away, it leapt again, tearing into the nearest soldier with relentless fury. By the time they finally incinerated the creature, 2 soldiers were dead, and another 3 lay writhing with grievous wounds. The survivors stood in stunned silence, staring at the small, charred body. Captain Zorak felt a chill creep through his bones. Never, in all his campaigns, had he witnessed such unyielding defiance from something so insignificant. Back at the forward base, Zorak filed his report. The commander's mandibles clicked irritably as he read it. "One creature caused this much damage?" he demanded. "It is madness." Zorak replied grimly. "It is not madness, sir. It is Earth." The footage was analyzed, cataloged, and broadcast through the military network. At first, officers mocked it. Then they watched again, studying the small beast that had fought like a demon against armored warriors. A whisper began to spread through the ranks. A word, a warning, honey badger. Meanwhile, the humans learned of the incident as well. Resistance fighters scavenged the battlefield, finding scorched alien armor and plasma rifles abandoned in panic. Among the ruins, they also found the charred remains of the honey badger. To the villagers, it was not just an animal. It was a sign, a symbol of Earth's defiance. They painted its likeness on walls, banners, and even their own bodies. They told the story around campfires. The little warrior that feared nothing, not even the aliens from the sky. Soon, a rallying cry emerged among the fighters. "Fight like the honey badger." It was shouted before ambushes, whispered before raids, painted in bold strokes on captured alien vehicles. The symbol spread faster than the Empire's propaganda could suppress it. Within weeks, every alien soldier knew the word. They mocked it in public, but in private, many feared it. They had come to conquer a planet of weak bipeds. Instead, they found a world where even the smallest beast would fight to the death. And if the animals fought like that, what of the humans themselves? Captain Zorak, once a loyal servant of the Empire, now felt unease in every patrol, every skirmish. He had seen the honey badger with his own eyes. He knew what it meant. The Empire had underestimated Earth, and the cost of their arrogance was only beginning. Humanity adopts the symbol. The cities burned, yet the people refused to bow. Across Earth, the Galactic Empire's soldiers enforced curfews, patrolled the streets with towering walkers, and conducted raids on suspected resistance cells. Plasma fire lit the night skies. Entire neighborhoods were reduced to rubble, and still the humans fought. What the Empire had dismissed as insignificant interference had grown into a full-blown insurgency. Guerrilla bands struck at convoys in deserts, jungles, and frozen mountains. Farmers and factory workers smuggled food and ammunition to fighters in the hills. Even schoolchildren learned how to sabotage patrol routes, stringing wires across roads or jamming alien comms with hacked devices. But it was not just tactics that bound humanity together. It was a story, the story of a creature that should have been nothing, small, low to the ground, unarmed, unarmored. Yet it faced the Empire's best and refused to yield. The honey badger. In a resistance stronghold of Nairobi, Commander Amina Hassan pinned a crude drawing to the wall of her command tent. It showed a snarling honey badger with claws extended, painted in black and white on rough canvas. Beneath it, scrawled in charcoal, were the words, "Fearless, relentless, Earth." Her soldiers gathered around, weary eyes glinting with recognition. "This," Amina said, pointing to the symbol, "is what we are. They call us weak. They think we will break. But like this creature, we will never let go. Not until the invader is driven from our soil." The room erupted in cheers. For the first time since the invasion began, there was laughter, pride, and unity. The honey badger was no longer just an animal. It was a banner for humanity's will. The symbol spread faster than the Empire could crush it. In Brazil, resistance fighters spray-painted honey badger silhouettes across alien tanks before setting them ablaze. In India, murals of the creature covered walls, standing defiant amidst bombed-out ruins. In America, soldiers etched its image onto rifles and helmets, carrying it into battle. Everywhere, the same phrase echoed, "Fight like the honey badger." The Empire's propaganda officers tried to dismiss it. They broadcast messages mocking the humans, showing footage of destroyed villages, claiming resistance was futile. But the more they tried, the stronger the symbol grew. Because every soldier, every civilian, every child who heard the story knew it carried truth. Earth's spirit could not be crushed. Meanwhile, the Empire's forces began to feel the strain. Patrols moved nervously through the streets, expecting ambushes at every corner. Soldiers checked shadows for movement, flinched at every rustle in the jungle. Whispers spread through the ranks. "This planet is cursed," they muttered. "Its people fight like the beasts that infest it. Even the smallest one killed us without fear." Some squads refused to leave fortified bases at night. Others fired blindly into forests, wasting ammunition at phantoms of their imagination. Discipline eroded. Morale cracked. Admiral Vurok received report after report of skirmishes lost, convoys destroyed, outposts overrun. Casualty numbers climbed far beyond initial projections. He clenched his mandibles in rage, smashing a clawed fist against the holodable. "This is impossible," he snarled. "We are the Empire. They are primitives." But deep inside, even he knew the truth. Arrogance had blinded them. Earth was no easy conquest. The turning point came in the Congo. There, a division of Imperial infantry marched through dense jungle, determined to wipe out a major resistance hub. They came with armored walkers, plasma cannons, and air support. By all logic, victory was assured. But the humans were waiting. They struck from the trees, from the rivers, from underground tunnels they had carved with their own hands. Explosives buried beneath mud tore apart walkers. Molotovs rained down from the canopy, setting fire to ammunition depots. Fighters wielding captured plasma rifles struck at the flanks, vanishing before the aliens could regroup. At the center of the human force, Commander Hassan rallied her troops beneath a massive banner painted with a snarling honey badger. "They think they are gods," she shouted, voice echoing above the chaos. "But gods can bleed. Show them what Earth truly is." Her fighters roared back in unison. "Honey badger! Honey badger!" The battle raged for hours. By nightfall, the jungle was a graveyard of scorched alien machines and shattered bodies. The Empire retreated, leaving behind hundreds of dead. It was the worst defeat they had suffered on Earth. News of the victory spread like wildfire. Humans across the planet heard of it and found hope where there had been despair. If the honey badger's spirit could turn the tide in the Congo, then perhaps Earth truly could endure. For the Empire's soldiers, the defeat was devastating. Rumors spread that the humans were channeling the honey badger itself, that Earth's animals and people alike were possessed by the same unbreakable will. Superstition mixed with fear. Troops began to dread deployment, muttering that Earth bites back. Admiral Vurok tried to maintain control, but even his generals whispered about the growing cost. Earth had become a quagmire. Every day dragged the Empire deeper into a war it had once considered laughable. And in every captured base, on every burned-out tank, one image remained. The fearless eyes of the honey badger. A reminder that Earth was not prey. Earth was a predator. The Empire retreats. The sky above Earth burned. Imperial warships loomed in low orbit, their cannons striking cities with searing beams of plasma. Entire districts vanished in firestorms. From orbit, the Empire's commanders expected to see humanity broken at last. Cities leveled, armies scattered, hope extinguished. But from the ashes rose defiance. In the shattered streets of London, resistance fighters emerged from underground bunkers, rallying beneath banners painted with the snarling black and white symbol. In the deserts of the Middle East, tribes mounted raids on alien convoys, chanting in unison, "Fight like the honey badger." In Asia, children daubed the image onto walls, while hackers flooded alien comm networks with snarling digital versions of the beast. Everywhere the Empire struck, humans answered with the same message. Earth would not kneel. Inside the command chamber of the dreadnought Dominus Rex, Admiral Vurok studied casualty reports. His mandibles trembled with rage. Thousands dead, supply depots burned, convoys gutted. A campaign projected to last weeks had stretched into months. "This is unacceptable," he roared, slamming a claw against the holodable. "We are the Galactic Empire. We do not lose to primitives." But his generals exchanged uneasy glances. None dared say it aloud, but all thought the same. The primitives had bled them dry. One general finally spoke. "Admiral, our troops are refusing deployments. Morale is collapsing. The humans fight beyond logic. They fight like—" He stopped, but the word hung in the silence. "Like the honey badger." Vurok's eyes narrowed. That cursed creature had become a nightmare, not just for soldiers, but for the Empire itself. Every image of it reminded his troops of their humiliation. Every story turned fear into legend. And now, even Vurok could not deny the truth. Earth was not easy. Earth was a meat grinder. The breaking point came during the Battle of the Great Rift Valley. The Empire deployed its heaviest force yet, a full mechanized legion, backed by orbital bombardments and hunter-killer drones. Their objective was to annihilate the Resistance headquarters hidden in the Kenyan highlands. But the humans knew they were coming. From every continent, fighters converged. Farmers left their fields. Miners abandoned their tunnels. Hackers carried their laptops into the wild. Even soldiers from fractured governments set aside their old flags, uniting under a single banner. Not the flag of any nation, the flag of the honey badger. As dawn broke, the valley erupted in war. Alien walkers lumbered forward, firing plasma bolts that melted stone. Human fighters surged from hidden tunnels, swarming the machines with explosives strapped to their chests. Trucks painted with snarling badger faces roared across the plains, mounted with captured alien cannons. The battle was chaos, plasma bolts lighting the sky, smoke rolling across the grasslands, screams and explosions blending into a deafening roar. At the center, Commander Amina Hassan raised her rifle and shouted over the din. "They think we are prey. Show them what Earth is made of." Her troops answered as one. "Honey badger, honey badger, honey badger." The chant echoed across the valley, carried on radios, shouted through loudspeakers, repeated by fighters until it became a thunderous roar that shook the Empire's ranks. For the aliens, the battle became a nightmare. Humans attacked in waves, refusing to retreat even when wounded, crawling through mud and fire just to drag down another invader. Every hill, every trench, every patch of earth was contested with a ferocity the Empire had never witnessed. At one point, as plasma fire tore the ground apart, a lone honey badger darted across the battlefield. Burned and scarred, it snarled at the towering aliens, lunging at their legs as if mocking their supposed superiority. To the humans, it was an omen. To the aliens, it was terror. The sight of the beast, alive amid the carnage, broke their morale. Soldiers faltered. Some threw down weapons. Others fled. The Empire had unleashed its full might. Yet still, Earth fought on. By nightfall, the valley was littered with the wreckage of alien walkers, smoldering ships, and thousands of corpses. The Resistance stood bloodied but unbroken. Humanity had held. For the first time in centuries, the Galactic Empire ordered a retreat. The withdrawal was silent, almost shameful. Warships broke orbit and vanished into the black void of space, leaving behind a planet scarred but unconquered. On the ground, humans watched the skies clear and erupted in celebration. Cheers echoed from mountaintops to coastlines. Across cities and villages, the honey badger banner was raised high, fluttering proudly in the wind. Commander Hassan stood before her weary fighters, her voice hoarse but resolute. "Remember this day? They thought us weak. They thought us easy. But we showed them the truth." She lifted a blood-stained banner high. "We are Earth. We are the honey badger. And we do not yield." In the years that followed, stories of Earth's resistance spread far beyond its solar system. Traders, smugglers, and defectors carried tales of the planet where even the smallest beast fought to the death. Among the stars, a new phrase took root. "Do not provoke Earth. They fight like the honey badger." The Galactic Empire, humiliated and scarred, never attempted invasion again. And in every corner of Earth, the image of the little black and white predator remained a reminder of courage, of resilience, of a world that refused to bow. The Empire had believed Earth was easy, but Earth had taught them the hardest lesson of all.